I think that the reason that not all communities have the same heightened awareness when things happen. So bad things happen in every community. So let's put that out there, because I think people don't want to hear that, but they do. And when we worked on domestic violence, that was the issue that blared at me more than anything, is seeing how many families we worked with who were victims of domestic violence who were outside the city of Milwaukee. But in terms of, looking at children's issues and children's safety, and how one community gets a lot of response and other communities get very low or no response, is I think that there is a lot of institutionalized racism. Milwaukee is segregated, and we are the most segregated city. And it's so sad, because we also see that segregation in terms of our resources. We see that in terms of how some communities get things that other communities do not. And so for me, I'm going to continue to fight that. It's not right. And no child, we have to get to the point where we stop separating children based on the color of their skin or the language that they speak, and just look at them as children. Children deserve us as adults being able to help them and keep them safe. That is our job. Whether they're a loud, in-your-face teenager or a quiet, special needs child, all of them deserve the best that we can give them as adults. And it is our responsibility. And it doesn't matter if you live in that community or not. Every traumatic and violent experience that happens in our community affects everybody. We don't want to say that because we like to say it's those people or them people. But at the end of the day, we are all affected. And if you don't think it affects you today, when your children grow up, when you have grandchildren, that is maybe when you will see it. I have lots of hope that Milwaukee is going to change. If I didn't, I would not be able to be in the position that I am, or I shouldn't be in the position that I am, if I didn't think that we could really turn Milwaukee around. But it takes guts, and it takes a lot of resources, and it takes people being able to come out of their comfort zone and being a little bit uncomfortable. And I've always found that the little bit of uncomfortable that you may feel provides the greatest opportunity for your growth. And I think that Milwaukee is in this tipping point, and has been for a while, on a lot of different issues. And it's trying to figure out, bringing those people together that want to work on those issues, and really figuring out and identifying what are the strategies that are going to work. What's the plan of action? Who's doing what? And then what's the accountability to that? Because a lot of times we put together really great plans, and we come together and we have great partners, but we don't hold each other accountable. And we have to be accountable, because the future generations of our children are dependent on it. I had a really awesome mentor say to me once that, you as a community leader, you as a person who works in different areas, whether that's education or politics, you can't give more to the community than you're willing to give to your own children. Because your children are the future generation. And I had to stop and think about that, because somebody as a community leader and as a very strong advocate for as long as I have been, you're driven by giving and giving and giving, and sometimes you don't stop and think about that. But I noticed that I was skipping things in my own children's lives, and I was missing out on things that were important to them. And I really had to think about that and take a step back, so that as a parent, not only am I, thinking about what's happening in the community for them around them, but I'm also preparing them to be the best community future citizens that they can be. And in my advocate role and my leadership role in the community, that I continue to find the ways, the strategies, the resources to be able to move our community forward. so that both sides of who I am can come together and really I can, live out my passion of making sure that our community and our children have all the things that they're supposed to have, so that they can grow up in a community where they are healthy and happy and safe. It's such a hard balance, because when you're in those roles as teachers and community leaders and whatever you're doing, there's such a spotlight on you to always know, what are you doing, what are you changing, how are you making things happen. And it's not always about the person as much as it is who you're bringing with you. And we all, we have as much as we are, I'm very tied to my motherly role, I'm always looking and thinking about community and what's happening and how do we move that. And sometimes I find myself like, oh, wait a minute, I have my own children, wait a minute, and it's really a hard balance. It's really, really difficult.